And that's what I want to ask you. How much of a role does intention play in some of this work? Because I wonder if you thought about that when you were writing it. Do you think about it now in terms of how your intention fits in with a law, or your reason why you're doing it, the cause behind the law that you're using? Does that impact or affect the quality of the effectiveness of the law? Does it make a law work better? Does it have any power? Does intention have any power?
You mean if your intention is for something good or for something evil?
Correct.
Well, it depends. Unfortunately, in the world today, and I've had this experience and we read about it in the news, a lot of people who have a dark side, whom we might consider rather immoral in their behavior, get pretty damn far, right?
Yeah.
And they use these laws and they don't pay any consequences. So there's no kind of ultimate justice in this world, although there might be in a religious sense. I don't deny that at all. But in a secular world, there's no consequences to pay for it. So people, if they have a lot, they do crush your enemy totally, and that's their goal, they might end up being even better at it than somebody who doesn't really want to go there, but then kind of tries it half-heartedly, right? So I'm not here to say that justice and goodness always prevails, but the people who have those kind of intentions, the true sharks in the world, they don't need my book, right? They know it. It's in their DNA. They grew up at the age of 5 or 6, 7. It's already been implanted in them. And I write about that in my last book, The Laws of Human Nature. You can see that in certain people at a very early age. The great therapist, psychoanalyst Melanie Klein identified the greedy baby at the age of 6 months.
Wow.
That was already sucking so hard on the mother's breast. And she saw that this type of baby turned into the type that was actually very aggressive in life. So it's inbred very early on. People like that have patterns of behavior they cannot control. But those people with those kind of intentions who are very manipulative, I believe very firmly ultimately they hit a wall. They piss so many people off. They don't know the soft side of power. They have no self-control because all they know is grab, 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 push, push, push. They don't know when to yield. They don't know when to step back, right? They've only learned one way. And so that becomes their downfall.
What I'm hearing from you is that the intention, it's in one sense, could weaken it if it wasn't used effectively. But, you're also saying that if someone does have a positive intention or a good intention, then it is likely that they may be happier with that power to some degree.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's what I find so fascinating.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Right? It's the relationship. I guess we both know a lot of powerful people who would consider themselves to be not happy.
Yeah.
And I ask myself then, what is the role of power in the world? Because I feel like a lot of people in your situation, when they didn't feel any power at home or they didn't feel a sense of significance at home, often power or significance become pursuits for pleasure and for happiness. But power doesn't lead to happiness. What does power lead to?
Well, I'm not sure I completely agree with that because under the way I've defined power, where you feel like, okay, so let's say you have a spouse who has a very annoying pattern of behavior, all right? And in my books, I train you, being direct and yelling at them never works, never works.
Yes.
You have to learn the art of insinuation, of persuasion, which often is stepping back, which often involves teaching them a lesson, mirroring their behavior, right? And so your intention is not ugly or bad. It's that you can't live with this person unless they alter their behavior, right? And so you think about it, you strategize a little bit, you take some steps, and it works.
Yes, got it.
Right?
I understand, yes.
So in a relationship, often that can spell into some degree of power. Or let's say you're in a nasty divorce case, and there's a child involved, and your emotions are to screw that man or woman who is so mean to you, and you're going to have this nasty fight, and then you realize, oh my God, this child that I love is really going to suffer from it. And then you step back and you go, no, I have to not just react it's gonna lead to an uglier cycle of battles. I need to be a little bit more strategic about this. I need to pursue this in a softer way, right? And so you end up feeling better about yourself. So I'm not saying all of the laws are going to make you feel better about yourself, but the degree that you can control your environment where you're not helpless at work or in a relationship or with your children will give you a degree of happiness. It won't fulfill you the way, maybe that's the difference here. It will give you a sense of satisfaction. It will relieve that anxiety. It won't make you fulfilled the way your career will if it's done properly, but it will help you lose that continual gnawing anxiety that you can't change people, that you can't change yourself. So I do think there is an element of happiness, however you want to define it, involved with power.
No, and I think that's why, going back to your definition of power, and that's why I asked you that early on, that's exactly it. That when I was referring to my point, I was saying that when people have a negative intention and their definition of power is warped, then power can end up feeling dissatisfying when you get there, because it didn't really get you what you wanted.
Right.
Because you couldn't force someone to love you, or you couldn't force this person. But actually, when it was done in the way you're saying, like when you realize that actually, if I don't exert this power, I'm actually using this power to save this situation, to enable this situation to improve. I think that's I think that's what I was pointing to. And so, yeah, we're on the same page.